If you travel with your kids, I'm sure you're no stranger to having to pack for them. Wouldn't it be nice if they can just do this on their own? Not only does it free up time for you to go pack your own stuff or really do anything else, it would also teach them important life skills, like how to make a packing list, how do you fold clothes, how do you put clothes into the bag, and having that ownership and sense of responsibility of taking care of their own stuff. And the thing is, kids often want to help. So if we let them, wouldn't that just be a win-win for everyone? Well, that's the goal. And in this video, I'm going to tell you how we got started in getting the kids to pack for themselves, what we've learned so far, and a few tips if you're thinking of doing the same thing. So how did we get started? My kids often ask to help when they see me packing. For me, the barrier was they weren't very good at helping. Like, they were 2 and 4 at the time, and like really they weren't good at folding, they weren't good at finding the stuff or knowing what to pack. And so it was a steep learning curve, and that was kind of keeping me from wanting to engage them in their help, but they're so eager and they really want to contribute. And I think it gives them a sense of being a helpful part of the family. And these are also like useful life skills that I want them to learn. So then I thought, you know what? I'll take the time to teach them and kind of slowly get them on board with how to pack. Initially, when we started, I threw it out as a scavenger hunt. I was like, hey kids, would you like to do a scavenger hunt? And they were like, yeah, we love scavenger hunt. And I honestly didn't know what to expect, so I wasn't prepared. So tip number 1, please be prepared ahead of time. And so I quickly drew out a piece of paper for each of them, listing out what I want them to pack. Now this is before they can read, so it's all drawings. And I love doodling, but it takes time, and they were so eager and so ready to go that like me taking 5 minutes to draw out everything I want them to pack, it was really hard for them to wait. And also, drawing it out every time manually is kind of hard to replicate, right? Like, we visit family often, so each time there might be a different event, or we might be visiting a different place, and each trip is different. But there are many elements of a packing list that should carry over from time to time. This is how me and my husband structure our own packing list. It's just copied from each time to the next. And so why don't we do the same sort of system for the kids to save us time and to help develop more structure around it? So with the experiences of the manual drawing scavenger hunt plus kind of the downfalls of that system, we decided to make a template using Google Docs, and it's a pretty simple table. The images are found online, just simple searches, and it lays out exactly what I want them to pack. It's still built as a scavenger hunt because they like that format, but I also incorporated like the little name line on the top because they really like those school worksheets. And this feels like an official thing. Like, this is for reals, my sheet, and this is important. They love that. There's something about checking a box and writing down their name that makes it feel super official, and it makes them happy. So we built this as a Google Doc, and I'll link that down below if you want a copy of that to build your own template. And the main benefit of having it in this format is just it's so easy to update on the next trip. I can just simply change out a few items as needed, and I can print them again and start over. It's much easier than manually drawing it each time, even though I love doodling. So after I made the sheets, I printed them out, and I asked them to go to town, like find all the things in the house. And they go up and down the stairs many times. It's like the most inefficient kind of packing, but they love it. They love finding things, and it's great for me because it takes them forever because they have to go upstairs, get underwear, come downstairs, go upstairs, get a pair of pants, and come downstairs. This took at least a good half hour, and in that half hour I got a lot of other things done. So win-win for us. And this time, as an experiment, I decided to not double check any of their work. Previously, when I drew out the doodled list, they would show me what they're packing, and I would be like, okay, you got all those things. They just leave it in a pile, and I do the final moving of said pile into the bag. But this time I told them, I will not double check your work. You're in charge of it. If you miss anything and we get to Badada's house, and we don't have it, sorry. And so they were like, oh, really? And I feel like that gave them an extra sense of like importance, like this is on me. I think that's a good thing. I think it pushes them to like really try and double check their work. And of course, the super essential stuff like snacks, those are still for us adults to pack, because this is the first run and I don't necessarily want to deal with hangry children should this experiment fail. So they mostly did clothes, toys, books, like things that are not 100% essential. They can go pantsless. If they don't have pajamas, you know, they can at least sleep in regular clothes, and it's a relatively short trip. So how did this experiment go? With respect to the process of packing, it was chaotic and messy, I have to say. They, like I said, would go up and down the stairs, be completely inefficient, but they were on task, they were focused. They had a lot of stamina that surprised me. I mean, this was a half-hour long process and they just kept going and going. I think that was a huge win in terms of getting them to be focused on a task and not be distracted and like do the whole thing to completion. From their perspective, they really enjoyed it. They had a lot of fun doing a scavenger hunt style activity. The other thing that really went well with this process is that they love the template format of like filling out their name, picking a favorite marker to do that, and checking off boxes. The whole vibe was a win for them. And then there was also a bit of them fighting to get to ride on this carry-on luggage bag that really is not suitable for riding on, but that kind of stuff comes with the territory. For us, it was also a win because we did like zero work. We didn't really have to supervise them, and they did this all independently. Another thing I was really impressed with regarding their packing process is they were actually pretty systematic even with all that chaos. Even as they like slowly gathered items one by one and put them into a pile, they transferred everything very systematically into the bag, and they folded everything when they put them in. And I was actually really impressed with their folding. We didn't teach them about folding specifically this time. We have had them help us with laundry in the past, and so this is kind of a separate skill that they've been working on and perfecting, but I definitely was surprised at how good they've become, because it's not like they do laundry with us all the time. This is like a once a month tops type of activity. But yeah, like look at those pants. Like those are actually nicely folded. Obviously my kindergartner has had more practice, and so she's a little bit more on point with her folding style. But even my preschooler, look at that, like that's insane. At least she knew the concept of how like the pants should be folded in half, or like how the shirt kind of comes together that way. I'm so proud of them for doing this all by themselves. That's so cool. That was pretty cool to watch. So from the process standpoint, I think it went really well. From the outcome standpoint, how did they pack? What did they actually bring? For that, let's take a look at this suitcase. It's got the right number of toys, the right number of books. It has all their essential clothing items that I requested. They even put their dirty shoes in a bag, which is, you know, my style of packing. I know people that put shoes just with their clothes, but I can't do it. It's dirty, man. Like, their clothes are... Anyway, personal pet peeve that no one cares about. And then, did they miss anything? Sort of, because the tops and bottoms didn't quite match. And I guess on the scavenger hunt sheet, I didn't specify that like the shirt and the pants have to be an outfit. So like there was a little bit of complaint when we got there that I don't want to wear this top with these pants. And I had to be like, but you chose them. I'm sorry. So maybe next time I might restructure the scavenger hunt list to put the shirt and pants together in the same box, or maybe make it one item, like make it an outfit instead of two shirts and two pants. But it was pretty inconsequential. We didn't really have fancy places to be, so they didn't need to look a certain way. It was functional. No one was naked. So that was a win. They did surprisingly well, because as I was watching them, I feel like I saw the pile grow bigger and bigger, and I feel like it kind of looked like there were non-essential random items thrown in. But those didn't end up making it into the bag. So they must have filtered it down, either based on the list or I don't actually know. And that's the point, right? Like everyone has a slightly different packing process, and it's good for them to figure out what their own style is. I'm glad we got this little practice. Now, in terms of what we all thought of this experiment, they loved it. They were so proud of themselves, rightfully so. They had this real sense of achievement, and I think that kind of stuff is priceless. As a parent, getting them to feel good about what they can do and wanting to do more and more and more as they build those skills, that confidence, That's so cool to see. And the main thing is they had a lot of fun doing it, so it didn't even feel like it was a chore. It didn't feel like I was making them do anything. They happily did it, had fun learning it. So that was fantastic. From my perspective as a parent, I think this all went pretty smoothly. They were pretty independent throughout the process. They learned new skills. Really, I don't think there was any downside for me. I got extra time to pack my own stuff. It kind of worked out as I had hoped, which, as all parents know, this isn't always the case. So I'm happy to share that this experiment was pretty successful. And then lastly, what would I change for next time? I think there is plenty of room as they get bigger and bigger, as they learn to read, as they're able to do more complex things. This could be changed into just words without pictures, and maybe next time they can start packing some of the more important things like medicine, snacks, and like shampoo slash shower, like self-care, hygiene, essential type stuff. And I guess as they get older, this naturally transitions from a scavenger hunt fun activity into like a bullet point packing list, or kind of like the Trello packing list that my husband and I use. So there are many directions this can go into, but I think this is an amazing first step for us, for kids this age, and it's so cool to see that they're totally able to do it. What are some ideas that you have about teaching kids life skills, getting them to help with chores, and just overall being more independent? Leave them down below. I hope this video was helpful and or entertaining, and if so, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.